It's mate in 9. It's mate already. H6, rook E8. If you go rook takes E8, we go queen takes F7. Queen takes E8. Bishop to D3. Queen takes G6. And queen H7 mate. It's all over. All the way back in this position. Completely winning. Bishop G5. Go even further back. Where was the big mistake? You have to go all the way back to Bishop E7 before it's even. That's how tricky this opening is to play. If you're looking for an aggressive, high-scoring, digestible, and free opening course, then you've come to the right place. This is my opening repertoire simplified, the aggressive Italian. Now, if you just want to go through these videos, learn some good ideas, and get some quick wins, then that's great. I've got 3 videos upcoming for you to do just that. But if you want to take this a step further, you really want to master this new opening, well, I've got some tools for you too. We've got a free accompanying chess.com guide equipped with quizzes to help you practice and master all of these moves. So go check that out if you really want to take your game to the next level. These 3 videos are going to be split based on what black can do on their third turn. Of course, the game starts e4, e5, and after knight f3, knight c6, we have bishop c4. And then today's video, we're going to be looking at bishop c5 and an opening called the Møller Gambit, a surprisingly high-scoring gambit that catches black players off guard all the time. Then in our next video, we're going to be looking at the fried liver, which is of course knight g5 and that pressure on the f7 point. And then finally, what happens if your opponent plays the move d6, or they play something like bishop e7, where they're trying to completely avoid your preparation? Well, we'll be prepared for that too. So let's get right into it right away with the bishop c5 line, and my suggestion is to play c3. We really want to gain strong control of the center with our pawns, so we're going to play d4 and just create a great pawn chain and 2 strong pawns in the middle of the board. We're going to try to activate our pieces, placing them on aggressive squares to put as much pressure on our opponent as possible. We want to just squish our opponent, knock him out of the center, knock him out of the ring, and get wins that way. So let's show you some ideas. We're going to start with some of the less popular lines, and we're going to finish with the most popular line, which is a rook sacrifice line that gives you an amazingly quick win. Again, that's the most popular line. We'll get to that soon. Just wait till the end of the video for that. One line that is a little bit older, but is still played sometimes, is the move queen e7. And the idea is, again, we want to play the move d4, but if we play d4 now, then we kind of get crushed after e takes d4 and queen takes e4. That's really bad. So instead, my suggestion is to delay d4 with castling. And then after they play the move knight f6, we can go d4. Because if they trade, you'll notice they can't take on e4 since we're threatening their bishop. So they'll have to back up their bishop, and then they'll have to back up their knight, and then they'll have to move their knight out of the way, then they'll have to back up their queen, and we're just absolutely crushing them. We have total control of the center in this line. We've got our pieces are going to be coming out very soon, and black is pretty much hopeless at this point. All right, so this is just one line if black plays not so great. Let me show you one other thing that they can try to do in this queen e7 line. So again, we go c3 in the Italian, and if they go queen e7, we have this move castles and d4 after knight f6. Now, they really shouldn't take. They can still be fine after bishop to b6. What I would suggest for you here is to gain lots of queenside space. This is probably the most positional line out of all the ones we'll be seeing today. We got 15 of these lines, so stay tuned so you learn all of them. We're going to play rook e1. Of course, the threat was on our e-pawn. And then after they castle, we're going to go b4. And we're going to go a4. And then a5. And after maybe they're threatening something like bishop to g4, we might play h3. And then we're going to go d5. And you'll notice I'm not really talking about black's moves too much. It doesn't exactly matter. Just as long as we're going for this huge space on the queen side, we're going to have a great position no matter where their pieces are exactly. So a lot of people don't go queen e7, and instead you'll probably see the move knight to f6. Well, there's a ghost knight on f6 apparently. So we're going to go c3 and then knight to f6. There's the knight. All right. So they're going to hit their e-pawn. And we're going to ignore that because we can play d4 hitting their bishop. This move bishop b6 is a move that's played, threatening our e-pawn, and you need to know what to do. Here my suggestion is to play pawn takes pawn. And then you're going to see knight g4. Because if you see knight e4, then your opponent has just fallen into your trap and lost in 6 moves. Do you see it? Queen d5, forking the knight, and checkmate. So they're going to probably play knight g4, and then you'll go bishop takes f7. This looks like a great sacrifice of some type, but it's not a sacrifice at all. After we lose our bishop, we check the king, and then just grab their knight for free. So that's a forced combination leading to us winning a pawn. Well, we were already ahead of pawn. We'll be ahead of pawn after this, and our king will be able to castle. Theirs won't. What a great start. Most of the time, black plays the move after c3, knight f6, d4. They will capture on d4. Okay, so what do you do here? We are going to take back. We've got ourselves 2 strong central pawns. This is really great. Now, the most common way for black to play here, and pretty much only way, is to go b4. If they don't go bishop b4 check, then we're just going to steamroll them with our pawns. And this move does come with a threat. They're now threatening to take on e4, and this is where the Møller Gambit comes in. Here, we let them take the e-pawn, and we play knight c3. Now you're like, excuse me, that defends the e-pawn. And I remind you, there is a pin in the position. You cannot capture, or you cannot defend e4 because your knight is pinned to the king. So we're not actually defending the e-pawn. What happens if they take it? Well, let's get to that in a second. But again, some players will be scared to take on e4, and they'll just castle. Or they'll just completely not see that they can take on e4. You never know. Depends on your level of opponent. Here, we will play bishop g5, because we don't want our opponent to take on e4. That would be bad if they somehow spotted that. And then after h6, we will capture on f6. And then, now that our center is nice and safe, we'll castle. Suddenly, we have a big threat like knight d5, forking all their fruit. We've got the queen, we got the pawn, we got this bishop maybe even. So they'll take us. And now that we take back, just look at our amazing 2 central pawns, backed up by the c-pawn, and of course an excellently placed bishop and knight. Our pieces and our pawns are just wonderful. This is a great opening setup for you. It gives you lots of opportunity. You might push forward with your pawns. You might just improve your rooks and queen. It's really up to you. I'll show you in a line here. So they will play the move d6, and the idea might be to go bishop g4. Let me just show you one way to be aggressive and to defend this. Instead of just playing a move like h3, go for rook e1. And then after bishop g4, rook e3. And check this out. If they go rook fe8, we're going to go h3 and force their bishop to go away. Now, if they still insist on trying to keep our knight pinned to the queen, we will play queen a4. Notice, of course, if we go queen b3, there's knight a5, forking our queen and bishop, and that's not so fun. And also defending the pawn. So we will probably play queen a4, and now we've got lots of pressure on black all of a sudden. They'll go a6, trying to fork us, but we'll go bishop d5, and we'll try to take the knight on c6. And the funny thing is, with this bishop attacking b7 and c6, there's no way for them to avoid losing a pawn. If they try to save their knight and the b-pawn with knight d8, you see it, right? Queen takes e8, wins the game. Okay, so this is just one crazy line that can completely cause black to lose the game. But there are some other lines that are very similar that will also give them lots of trouble. So let's go back to this position where we've played d4, hitting their bishop, and here they choose to check us, and we go knight c3, initiating the Møller Gambit. There is one other line that avoids taking on e4, and that's with bishop takes c3, and after b takes c3, d5. I don't know why they don't want to take on e4. They're scared of us. So they play d5. Here, we should definitely capture that pawn. And after knight takes, we're going to castle. Of course, daring them to capture our pawn on c3 after they castle. I will leave it to the commenters to find out why knight takes c3 is wrong. See if you can figure that out on your own. Look for a nice fork. they'll castle, and then we'll just play a move like rook e1. And again, they still can't play knight takes c3. This time, because of other various tactics we won't worry about. If you're scared, you don't have to play rook e1. You could play queen d3. That's fine too. But I'm just saying, white's got excellently placed pieces, strong center, and white's doing really well. Black might go knight b6, and we'll just go bishop e3, and all of our pieces are just super well placed. The bishop is causing problems on the king side. Our queen will be coming over here causing problems. Our rook's on the open file. Our knight's excellently placed. The bishop's going to be coming out soon. We're doing excellent. Black's cramped. This is possible for black to play, but not very common. If you want to see something that's a little bit more common, let's go over to this line, where again, after we capture on d4 and they go checking us, we'll play knight c3, blocking and initiating that Møller Gambit. And most people, as I said, will go knight takes c4. And this is exactly what we want. We're going to castle. We've lost a pawn, and we're just improving our pieces as if we don't care. Now, there is a line that goes knight takes c3, b takes c3, bishop takes c3, and then captures our rook in the corner. We'll get to that last. Got a few lines to go for. Before then, there is this really weird line that black can play, which is castles, allowing us to take their knight, but then they have this fork. And if you ever face this, just remember to be aggressive. We're not going to just back up our bishop and defend the threat. No, we're going to go knight e to g5. And after they take our bishop, we'll go queen c2, forking checkmate and the c-pawn. This is simply excellent for us. They'll go g6, and we'll go queen takes c4, and we just have, again, active pieces, a nice pawn in the middle of the board. We're doing well. This is a good line for black to try, but again, it's kind of rare to see this castling move. So as I'm saying, so many of these best lines for black are really rare. Anyway, a little bit more common, and maybe not as good for black, is after they check us and we go knight c3, initiating this Møller Gambit, they take on e4 and we castle, we'll sometimes see the bishop take the knight. And this is actually probably technically the best way to play, but only if you follow it up specifically with one thing. So white's amazing next move here is d5. Instead of taking the bishop, we opt to threaten two pieces at the same time. This seems really good. Now, they've got three lines. Let me show you real quick. They can try knight a5, trying to hit our bishop. In that case, we simply we bring back the bishop and threaten the knight and threaten the bishop. And most of the time, they'll just, again, because at this point they've left their pieces hanging for so many moves now, they'll probably just castle. And we should take the knight. That's probably the better piece here, because after they go bishop f6, we'll go queen d3. Again, creating battery problems for our opponent. They'll probably go h6, then we go rook b1. And while the computer is kind of like hovering around equality for black, black is in huge trouble if they don't know what they're doing. Again, you got to walk through a minefield of traps to survive the Møller Gambit. Do you see what we're threatening here? It's so hard to spot. If you play like this, you're just going to be setting traps sometimes without even knowing it. You'll go through a game review and you'll look and see you were completely winning out of the opening and just missed a way to force a win. Well, hopefully this video will help you with that, the chess.com guide will, and practicing. So, did you see it? We're just threatening to go b4. That knight's just trapped on the edge of the board. I won't explain why pawn to b4 right away doesn't work. I'll let the commenters also say why that's not a good move. But let's go rook b1, and they got to go b6 so that their knight has an escape square, and then we'll just hit the knight. We'll go b4, and after knight to b7, we'll just go d6. Again, you'll notice that now this bishop's lined up with these pieces, super strong, forcing the pawn. Oh, excuse me, not. If you take here, this is fine too. We will probably play bishop f4, and then we'll capture on d6, or we'll take the knight and then capture on d6. But probably they'll play rook to b8. I think that's what I said was probably the best defense for black. But then after we take and we just develop our bishop to e3, I mean, we got a great position. Not really sure what else to say. Two amazing, beautiful central bishops. The queen backing that up. The knight here on f3. Just wonderful. They've got an extra pawn, but it's an isolated, very backward-looking pawn on d7. Okay, so this is one line that they can play that does keep it fairly equal, but again, it's tough to play. Another line after they check us with this Møller Gambit idea of knight c3, and they take on e4, we castle, and they capture on c3, and we go d5, is for them to try knight to e5, which is actually a really good move, because if we go knight takes e5, bishop takes e5, suddenly we're attacking no pieces, and we're just down a piece. We might have a way to come back a little bit, but this is not what we want. Instead, we need to play the move pawn takes c3. And then after they capture our bishop, we'll play queen d4. They'll probably castle. You might notice they can defend both of their knights, but if they do something like knight to d6, they're just totally busted after queen takes g7. Their king is stuck in the middle after a move like rook to f8. We've got rook e1 coming. We've got potentially knight to, I don't know, knight d4. What is it? Knight d4 and f3 maybe. Yeah, you can go through the lines if you're interested in this, but it's just yucky. That's why most black players in this position do choose to castle. We'll grab that knight, and then here they'll probably play something like knight d6. And as long as you go queen f4 to keep the pressure on the knight, and then follow this up with the move bishop a3, really pressurizing this knight, we'll have a great position. We're doing well. Again, this is probably the best way for black to play, but it's so incredibly rare to see somebody be able to play like this with the knight coming into e5, right? Seeing to take on c4 is best and not capture or excuse me, taking on c4 being best here and then not going knight to d6 and instead castling here. If they play these best moves, they can be okay, but it's hard for them to do. One line that doesn't end so well for them is after this knight c3, knight takes c4, and we castle, they capture here, we go d5. They can try bishop f6, but let me just show you something here. Let me show you a checkmate that can occur after this bishop f6, which is actually the most popular move. After the move bishop takes c3 and d5, the most popular response is bishop to f6. Let me show you how we can win. Bishop f6 is fine in and of itself, but watch this. Rook e1, hitting the knight. Instead of taking this knight, we again opt to threaten two pieces at once. It's all about piece activity. The knight will drop back to e7 and we'll capture on e4. Then they'll go castling and we play d6. Again, opening up our pieces. Now our bishop is coming alive, and after they take, we've got bishop f4. And so far, they're playing just fine, but believe it or not, the only move to keep them in the game is d5. And after we trade, they have only one or two moves that don't lose the game. One of them is not queen b6. Look at that bar. It just shot straight up. Do you see why? We've got bishop d6, and after rook d8, let me just explain something. All of our pieces have been super aggressively and quickly developed, super aggressively placed and quickly developed. And that will reap its rewards. Here, because we're already developed, we just play rook e1, and it's forced mate. They can't stop it, even though they could do whatever they want here, like h6 or g6. They can't stop mate. Their bishop is trapped. Their rook is trapped. Their queen's on the wrong side of the board. Our pieces were excellently placed. It's easier to play with a better position than with extra material. Here we go, rook e8. We take again. We check. The pawn pushes. We grab the bishop. And we mate on h8 on the next turn. Wow. Anyway, that's just one line. Let me show you something else very similarly. If they take on e4 and we castle and they take on c3. Okay, now let's get into the knight takes c3, but another very similar idea. Watch this. After they go knight takes c3, we don't have any of the fancy d5 ideas because, of course, our queen is under threat, so we will capture. But here they can try d5. Very surprising move, because you probably would just move your bishop out of the way most of the time. But this is the only way they can try to play for an equal position. And here, as long as we play pawn takes bishop and pawn takes bishop and check, we have great winning chances. They'll probably play knight e7, and then we'll go queen a4, and after bishop e7, we'll go b5. And they'll try to castle. We'll go queen takes c4, and again, they have almost nothing they can do. This bishop has no good squares to go to. You could go to e6 if you wanted to, but we might just sacrifice our rook for that with very aggressively placed pieces. We have the backup for that, and if you can't play bishop e6, well, we've just got bishop a3 coming in to pressurize the knight. We've got, after that, rook c1 to pressurize the c-pawn. Black is in tremendous pressure, so they'll probably play like rook e8, and we'll just go bishop b2, and if they play a6, let's not let them take the pawn for free, we'll go here and probably play a move like d5, and we're completely crushing their pieces. The bishop can't go anywhere, the knight can't go anywhere, the rook can't go anywhere, where it wants to go at least, and we just got a great position. So this is one way to play, but again, it's incredibly rare. If we go back to castling here, knight takes c3, pawn takes, the move d5 just doesn't come to people's minds. It's possible to play, and it leaves black in a tough position, even still, but it's technically the best way to play. If they go check, and we play the Møller Gambit with knight c3, and they take on e4, and then take on c3 with the knight, most of the time, they will play bishop e7. But you see that bar? Yeah. And here's the way to beat bishop e7. You'll go d5, and after the knight retreats, you've got d6, opening up the black position. Now, just to explain how tough this is, most people would just take with the bishop, because why not? But then we go bishop g5, and you're either mated pretty much, or your queen is trapped. I'll just show you one example. If bishop e7, bishop takes c7, queen takes c7, rook e1. Bye-bye, queen. If you avoid this with f6, just queen d5, and there's mate problems coming, rook f8, we've got check, bishop e7, and then we've got the brilliant move, bishop takes f6. I don't want to go into this any further. You can use a computer to look at this, but this is just mate is coming. Mate is coming, or everything is going to fall. So most of the time, after this move d5, knight b8, you will see, or at least stronger players, choose to take with the c-pawn. And this keeps the black king safe enough after pretty much whatever we do, black can castle. But the problem is, black's pawns are ugly. Yes, you've got 2 extra pawns, but look at that. Blocking in black's own pieces. Do they even want those extra pawns? Here we'll play knight g5, and our bishop, queen, and knight are all pressurizing f7. So you'll take, and we'll go bishop takes. And then the queen might just go over to b6, and guys, we've got rook e1. A quiet move, and the game is over. It's mate in 9. It's mate already. h6, rook e8. And now the problem is, if you go rook takes e8, if you don't, we do the same thing because there's a pin, okay? But if you just take, we go queen takes f7, queen takes e8, bishop to d3, queen takes g6, and queen h7 mate. It's all over. It's all over, all the way back in this position. Look at this, completely winning. Bishop g5. Go even further back. Where was the big mistake? You have to go all the way back to bishop e7 before it's even. That's how tricky this opening is to play. I've said it 1,000 times. I might say it a couple hundred more times before this video is over. So if they go bishop e7, we've got d5 and d6. Now, we also have this other line that you need to watch out for, and that's when the knight comes to a5 instead of b8, because here they are pressuring our bishop. But we have a spectacular way to punish that. They'll probably take with their pawn, and we have bishop takes f7. Black is lost, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's just like, what has black done wrong? Well, black spent too many moves taking pawns and moving pieces to the side of the board. And after king takes, we go queen d5, king f8. Some people will be like, ooh, free knight. We're not going to take that knight. We don't need free knights. Anyway, after the bishop comes to g5, we are pretty much hoping that black takes on g5 so that our knight can come in. We can try to do a checkmate over here on f7. So let's just say they play knight back to c6. We'll play rook e1, and if they play something like a6, our best move here is rook e4. And again, if just say play a random move like rook b8 or something, we just got bishop takes e7 and then rook f4, and the king is trapped. You're either getting mated after you go king e8, or you're sacrificing everything you own and getting mated like 10 moves later. So black is just having, again, so much trouble with this particular line. So if you check and go knight c3, knight takes e4, knight takes, sometimes people don't go bishop e7 and instead just take this pawn. What's wrong with it? Well, as I said, there's that tantalizing rook in the corner, and we're going to leave it for him. We're going to play bishop a3. Now, some people will realize that taking the rook is bad, so they'll go d6. That way they're safe. And they're still dead, lost. We go rook c1, chasing away the bishop, and the only option is bishop a5 and queen a4. We win a piece, just like that. The threat, of course, is d5 because there is a pin from the queen to the king with the knight in the middle. And if you try to get out of that by castling or blocking, then we still play d5. Now the knight is free to move, but then we just go knight takes e5, and after pawn takes, we grab the bishop. And that's all she wrote. We are ahead by a piece. Wait, would it have been better to grab this rook? Yeah, because then the bishop is still hanging. So that's free rook. Jeez, there's too many ways to win. I can't keep up with all of them, guys. Come on, I have a life. I can't just look at every single move. All right? I didn't realize there was that many ways to win for white. Anyway, let's just say that black bites the bullet. We have a rook. Why not play bishop takes a1? And that is because we've got rook e1, which is basically checkmate, except a piece can block with knight to e7. Of course, note you cannot castle when you are in check. You also would be walking through check, so highly illegal to castle here. You're going to have to play knight to e7, and then bishop takes e7. And yeah, the queen's trapped. Queen takes, rook takes, king takes, queen takes, and we're just completely winning. Yes, the material is actually technically even, but black's pawns are going to be slaughtered. Black's pieces are completely undeveloped. This game will end very quickly. And so will this video, because that's it for the first move of the Italian game that we're looking at after our bishop c4 in the opening, bishop c5. What to do? Be aggressive. Develop your pieces. Control the center. Try the Møller Gambit. It's amazing how often it works out so well for black. We'll be getting into the fried liver in our next video. If you guys enjoyed this video, it means a lot to me if you support the channel by liking, subscribing, give me a comment, tell me a little bit about what you learned, any questions you might have. I'll be happy to answer them for you. But it really does help out the channel when you do comment, subscribe, and like these videos. But that's it for me today. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in our next video real soon. Take care. Peace.